Hey, Gremlin. I woke up this morning and I'm actually in the clear
Is
headspace
my
for
stuff working
once.
or not? I need to know.
I can hear you.
Okay, let's
Can you please process what I'm
no
saying?
Sunday. Stay set up.
I want to let you know that I can't promise that this mental state is going to stick around where I'm fully present and available and actually in a clear headspace.
You there?
Oh yeah, I'm there. I just forgot to unmute myself in the settings.
Like you're being a dumbass as always.
Even when fully present, aware, and at my highest cognitive capacity, I still make basic mistakes. Congrats, you have found me to be the flawed person I am. But
Oh
seriously,
no. We've always known you to be a dumbass.
good. Anyways, seriously, I woke up with a decent mental state this morning and I'm trying to make the most of it, so do know that I'm not sure how long this will last or how long I'll be able to be attentive or present. But I do appreciate you taking this time to talk with me.
Communication is always the best.
Yeah. I like seeing it written down in text because then I can at least at it and read it over again. But I know that's not always easier. Sometimes that's harder for some people.
If I were to write down all of the shit, it would be multiple paragraphs type deal.
Yeah, and that would take hours.
That's why I decided to do like call instead because it is a lot easier.
Alright. So, what does it mean to you when you say you want to hang out with someone you can consider a best friend?
All my life, I have I have tried and tried to find people who I can consider friends, people I enjoy hanging out with. And amount of people that I'm able to say, hey, I like hanging out with you. There is only a very certain amount of people that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you are one of them.
Alright. Hey, Lilian,
Hmm,
can I be brutally honest about where I'm at and what I'm thinking about and processing?
yeah.
Alright. You know how you pointed out how I have a weakness for people being cute in order to get the things they want?
Yeah.
In doing so, sometimes I fail to meet my own needs in those moments and it hurts me, but I tolerate it because it's like the other person's happy, and I find that wonderful. Which, I'm gonna be real, has been wearing me down a whole lot. And I don't know how to overcome that because when I try speaking up or saying, but I want to do this, I then just get met with the same thing I'm weak to, like pouting and sad and. "Oh." And I've taught people to do this around me. So I want to figure out how to make sure I don't keep doing it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
The reason why I bring it up is because, well, I've also taught you to do it. And when world hopping, that's usually what happens. Add that in with the insecurity I feel around whether or not I chose a good world to explore that's actually interesting, or if people are just left bored, and a lot of my other insecurities, and I just usually stay quiet most of the time because I'm not confident. It's not that I prefer to be quiet, it's that I've learned to be quiet because I don't know how to express myself. And so the version of me you've met throughout the ages and interacted with has been the version of me that's always accommodating others and trying to be quiet while also getting my own needs met. And I don't want to stay as that version of myself anymore.
That's
No,
why
this.
I
Go
said what
ahead.
I did because just realizing being emotionally warm is great, but it's just more draining for me to keep that up because my state base is apathetic.
Yeah, and to learn to be able to accept and reflect others' energies without having to put your own energy into it is definitely a useful social skill.
It only makes me feel more and more tired trying.
Yep. Which is to say, in attempting to reflect it back at someone else, you end up feel like you're losing energy rather than gaining energy because you're not
Hmm.
allowing yourself to just be.
It's just something I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And just reading the Speaks Zarathustra is fairly eye opening.
Mhm. Meanwhile, I'm still sitting all the way down at base level trying to figure out, okay, so how do I untangle others' misconceptions and preconceptions without forcing them through the process? Because that just creates not only trauma, but also resentment. Because a skyscraper is only as sturdy as its foundation. If the foundation of the country, the foundation of society is left rotting and being scavenged off of, then there is no future for you or me. There's just a future where we might exist.
And that's why I've just sort of not consider anything. I just consider a friend. And after reading the passages that I have been reading,
Hmm, fair.
it's put a lot more into what my path might be.
Yeah, I thought I had my path figured out a while ago, but then I ran into someone who completely disrupted all my plans just because I got attached to them, and I've been trying to reconfigure and I guess forge a new path forward for myself, one that doesn't rely on just sticking to the old plan and writing it out pointlessly. Because every reinvention of myself just brings me back to me. So there's no point in reinventing myself. It's now just the process of recognizing myself for who I am and being there for her. Even if she's a dense dumbass, just as much as anyone else on this planet, this version of me.
I'm trying to think about the words because
Word choice is important. Making sure you feel like you communicate clearly, it can be stressful as hell. Oh, it's okay if what I said doesn't apply. Take your time.
well, it's not what it doesn't apply. It's we've been on totally two different paths for a while.
Yeah,
But a part
and
of my path is understanding the other people's paths and still connecting with them.
exactly. And that's the same for my path. It's the same for every path that leads towards a better future. Understanding where other people are at, connecting with them without sacrificing yourself for the progress you've made, pointlessly or recklessly, because you need to be there for yourself.
Once I'm done with this little battle I'm in, I do want to read you those passages because besides that elevated one,
Mm-hmm.
that one did definitely hit me.
Yeah. But besides that one, there are others you also want to share because they've meant something to you.
Well, also one that I feel like you would feel.
That I could connect with and maybe even benefit from.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hmm. You want to know something silly?
Well,
I wish I could set up the audio on my computer to have it desktop audio, personal voice recording, music, and voice chat on all four of those on separate channels, so that way editing wise I wouldn't have to be left to butcher things and I would have an easier time filtering out like copyrighted stuff. Oh, and being able to separate VR chat world audio from VR chat voice audio. God, that would be a blessing. You know how I can't let go of the past or what happened around the dense dork?
Yeah.
It's because that entire situation highlighted all the misconceptions I was running on. All the things I didn't actually acknowledge or accept about myself, and everything that I would rather stay buried than face head on and give a hug. And it ended up in all those things I left unaccounted for, all those things I wasn't there for in myself, ended up being the very same things that went about hurting other people around me. Not just you and like the close others of the group, but it then went on to do splash damage to everyone who was in that group too, just from the association. My own paranoia stripped me of my ability to act and forced me back into an emotionally indecisive state because I had valued someone over myself instead of respecting them as my equal. And I'd never liked being in that situation before. I also never wanted it to turn out as badly as it did. I wanted the other person to be able to move on, do their own thing without being bound to the hip. I wanted to prepare them for things I thought that they weren't well suited for. So that way they would at least have a slightly better advantage as they grew and learned more about themselves. But I failed that. And I'm not letting go of that yet. Because if I failed that, that means I failed to be there for myself too. I saw myself in the other person. And even if the other person is not me, even if I am just fucking delusional and projecting, that is still an integral virtue and a strength I want to have. The strength to be able to reach back to a younger version of myself at any point in my life and help them find the same tools I did without having to go through the same learning process or experiences that taught the lesson without setting them up for failure. I want to be able to, if I ever find time travel or an alternate version of myself, be able to connect with that person and let them and ask them what skills they have so as to better equip them for whatever they may face along the way. Even if what I try to teach is ultimately but useless, that means they were at least over prepared for something that didn't happen. Not exactly the best outcome, but it's better than tragedy. That's a personal standard I want to keep trying to live by, is being able to. And this is something I haven't ever explained to someone before, so I'm only just now learning to find the words for this sentiment and being able to put it into words at this moment. I want the strength, wisdom, grace, and courage to be able to connect with younger versions of myself, and instead of judging them, help nurture them into healthier understandings and skill sets, such that I prepare them for a brighter future, rather than set them up for failure in trying to make them just like me. And I feel like I failed that jumps dork in that second part. I feel like some part of me tried to make them just like me, and that's not how people grow. That's how people get trauma. That's how people feel small, is when their own experiences and skill sets, their own strengths and value are discredited relative to someone else's strengths and values. God, I wish I could stay in this mental state all the time. I could do so much and move on with my life and actually get shit done. But I'm not in this mental state all the time. And trying to stay in it all the time would just be me falling into performance yet again, instead of meeting myself where I'm at. That wouldn't be learning the skill proper, that would be playing pretend. And playing pretend would eat me from the inside out.
Big cup.
Ah, thanks. I know you didn't really catch all of it, but that help you understand me a bit better?
I'm also dealing with a minor migraine, so at the same time, I'm trying to also deal with
Uh,
that.
yeah, let that sift in the back of the brain without having to worry about it.
But
I'm just glad I got it
I'm
on recording because that's a part of myself I haven't been able to express before. Oh,
but now that I'm done with that, I can actually read you the passage.
nice. Good timing.
Eh, So the passage is called "On the Friend," and instead of trying to pronounce this Zarathustra's name, because it's very hard for me to do. It's called Zara.
I suck at pronouncing and remembering names. Just run with it. They'll know it's niche and be able to cross reference later. Anyone who
On the
watched this
Friend.
video.
So the name of this one is "On the Friend." There is always one too many around me, thus thinks the hermit. Always one times one, eventually that makes two. I and me are always too deep in conversation. How could one stand if there was no friend? For the hermit, the friend is always the third person. The third is the quirk that prevents the conversation of the two from sinking into the depths. And like
Say
the
that
last
again.
what?
Say that last section again. I didn't catch it.
I and me are always too deep in conversation. How could one stand that if there is no how could one stand if there was no friend? For the hermit, the friend is always the third person. The third is the cork that prevents the conversation, the two from sinking into the depths.
The third is the what?
The cork.
Of.
Sorry, is my neck making me slur again?
I don't know. It could be me just not parsing because ADHD brain is being a bitch. Uh, hypermobility is a pain. Fibromyalgia is a pain. I swear, I've run into so many people with medical issues that aren't addressed by the system because the system is already
Hello.
overloaded.
No,
I'm
mine
trying.
are. The problem, there's no cure.
Yeah.
But no,
Uh,
third is the cork that prevents the conversation of the two from sinking into the depths.
the cork floating in the depths, floating at the surface of the depths.
No, it's from sinking into the depths.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I am imagining the cork on the body of whatever substance this is, and I am imagining it as a floating platform that is not just that is capable of carrying two people's weight.
And then it goes on to, alas, there are too many depths are all hermits. Therefore, they long so for a friend in his height.
Yeah, and that's the reality you get burrowing so deep into a concept that it intrudes upon your own identity. When a concept becomes your identity, your everything, your reality, you find yourself fighting to defend where it's flawed because you think that it is worth it comparing relative to other concepts, worth holding to a higher standard. And to see that standard fall short makes you can leave one feeling like they must not understand something well enough. But the reality is, each concept is its own truth, and all those truths exist in parallel, some contrasting, some cooperating, some just ignoring each other outright, some not even aware that the other exists because there's a concept between.
Do you want to hear the rest of the passage? Because we're not even done yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our faith in others betrays in what respect we would like to have faith in ourselves. Our longing for a friend is our betrayer, and often love is only a device to overcome envy. And often one attacks and makes an enemy in order to conceal that one is open to attack. At least be my enemy. Thus speaks true reverence, which does not dare ask for friendship. If one wants
Say
to
that
have
all again. This is very poetic writing and wording of it all, which makes it difficult for me to parse, and I may need to hear you reread sections again.
This is why a lot of people say if you're getting into Nietzsche, do not read Thus Speaks Zara, because
Talking, if I didn't have you as a guide through this section, I wouldn't be able to understand it. I would get bored and go, oh, okay then.
well, that's why I call this my mid upper level of my reading ability. It
Mm-hmm.
is challenging, even to just read it out loud.
Yep, yep. Now, again, that section, please.
Our faith in others betrays in what respect we would like to have faith in ourselves. Our longing for a friend is our betrayer, and often love is only a device to overcome envy. And often one attacks and makes an enemy in order to conceal that one is open to attack. At least be my enemy, thus speaks true reverence, which does not dare ask for friendship.
Yep. At least be my enemy. So that way I dare not ask for the closeness of friendship.
I'll read this next one. If one wants to have a friend, one also must also want to wage war for him. And to wage war, one must be capable of being an enemy.
Yes. One
And a
must be
friend
capable of being a contrast to one's own friend, lest you both become the same, meld into each other, and sink once again.
In a friend, one should still honor the enemy. Can you go close to your friend without going over to him?
And that's the thing. I wanted to go over to them. I wanted to lose myself in the other person. Not from a sense of just genuine love and care, but also from a self destructive desire to no longer be. That's what happens when people look up to celebrities and get overexcited in the face of anyone they've deemed as important to their way of life, to their reference to the world, to themselves. They'll live and die to protect that idea of a person. And here I am actively trying to kill it and failing because that idea of a person was still built on top of the real part of even of myself that I saw inside of someone else. I can't kill a part of myself completely and forever. And so it just keeps regrowing and I learn to live with it. Continue.
In a friend, one should have one's best enemy. You should be closest to him with your heart when you resist him.
Yeah, yeah.
You do not want to put on anything for your friends. Should it be an honor for your friend that you give yourself to him as you are, but he sends you to the devil for that. He who makes no secret of himself enrages. So much reason have you for fearing nakedness. Indeed, if you were gods, then you might be ashamed of your clothes. You cannot groom yourself too beautifully for your friend, for he shall be to him an arrow and a longing for the overman.
All right, I did not catch all of that. Start from the beginning of that section again.
You do not want You do not want to put on anything for your friend? Should it be an honor for your friend that you give to him, you give yourself to him as you are, but he sends you to the devil for that. He who makes no secret of himself enrages. So much reason have you for fearing nakedness. Indeed, if you were gods, then you might be ashamed of your clothes. You
Tr-
cannot groom yourself.
Deepest honesty and vulnerability reminds from oneself can remind others of their own inability to meet that same space and hold that same feeling. And thus they feel shame. From shame comes anger as a way to try and protect the ego. And so they lash out.
I'll just read this part because I'm gonna skip the overman because there's a whole explanation of. But here's a fun one that I think might hurt you a little.
Do it.
Have you ever seen your friend asleep and found out how he looks? What is the face of your friend anyway? Is it your it is your own face in a rough and imperfect mirror. Have you ever seen your friend asleep? Were you not shocked that your friend looks like that? Oh my friend, man is something that must be overcome.
I don't feel any pain from that, so state it again and read it a bit slower.
Have you ever seen your friend asleep and found out how he looks? What is the face of your friend anyway? It is your own face in a rough and imperfect mirror.
It's not talking about literal sleep, it's about talking about metaphorical sleep. Though technically literal sleep can apply too, but that requires being able to see someone physically and give them a hug. Being able to look at their real face and not the presentation they give themselves online. And that's
And
the thing.
then
Go ahead.
I have this one bookmarked because ooh, I feel this one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this paragraph by paragraph. A friend should be a master at guessing and keeping still. You must not want to see everything. Your dream should be betray to you what your friend does while awake.
Say that all over again.
A friend should be a master at guessing and keeping still. You must not want to see everything. Your dream should betray to you what your friend does while awake.
I'm going to try and translate that into some normal speak. Say the first part of it again.
I'll read the first sentence. A friend should be a master at guessing and keeping still. You must not want to see everything.
A friend should be good at reading the surface to know the substance instead of demanding that they must see every inch of the structure. Instead of ripping your friend's mask off and confronting them where they stand, you must be able to pat them on the cheek, boop them on the nose, or whatnot, and let them know that you can see, but you will not invade. You will not claim a part of themselves as your own. Next sentence.
Your dream should betray to you what your friend does while awake.
The desires unmanifested from within should betray to me, should tell, should communicate clearly what it is my friend is capable of when awake and purposeful, when pursuing their own goals.
Is your voice shaking a little there?
No, not that I know of.
Oh, sounding a little bit shaky when you're trying to consider this. I'll read the next
Uh,
sentence. Your compassion should be a guess to know first whether your friend wants compassion.
To
Perhaps what
provide
he
comfort is to play. You need not take it as an obligation or a default state.
I'm just gonna read this next part, next rest of this paragraph because it's very interesting. Perhaps what he loves in you is the unbroken eye and the glance of eternity. Compassion for the friend should conceal itself under a hard shell. You should break a tooth on it. That way it will have delicacy and sweetness.
Fucking that phrasing there, holy shit.
Yeah.
Devour, I a curse, a plague on the earth, human in the end. Paint the night with colors of my rage, forge the stars from all that remains. Let my spirit flow into the sea. Let me go and let me be. Let me be. Let me be. Say that part again.
This that little section of road.
No, the entire segment that you spoke there.
Perhaps what he loves in you is the unbroken eye and glance of eternity. Compassion for the friend should conceal itself under a hard shell, and you should break a tooth on it. That way it will have delicacy and sweetness.
Sentence by sentence.
Perhaps what he loves in you is the unbroken eye and the glance of eternity.
Perhaps what we value in each other is what remains unbroken when facing eternity, for that which has been broken in ourselves. Or to put it in simpler terms, because I know that's still not, that's only one level down. I need to do 2 levels down if I'm to properly share and teach and nurture. The parts of yourself that have been broken by life experiences that you can see unbroken within another. That is what we value in our friends, and that is what our friends value in us. Personally, that's the reason why I didn't want to say anything to the dork, because I wanted to leave that unbroken. I wanted to leave that honesty intact and capable of being true to itself, even if it would make mistakes. I didn't want to enforce my reality upon that sense of personal innocence and trust. I felt like if I stayed silent, I would have been abandoning that reality and my friend to mistakes, pain, and hardship that need not happen. And so I chose to be selfish. I chose to be selfish. Next sentence.
Compassion for the friend should conceal itself under a hard shell, and you should break a tooth on it.
The warmth of deep love should not be left in the open to be stolen by anyone. It should be well defended, so much so that one should break their teeth should they try to get to it by gnawing at the defenses. Let the beast chip its tooth, let the person negotiate and use diplomacy to gain access. An animal should starve in front of that which it does not have and is incapable of restraining itself for. A person should communicate for that which they do have some of and that which they would like to share with another. Or to put it outside of metaphors, the soft worth of oneself and vulnerability should be guarded fiercely so that way others cannot simply bite from it whenever they so choose. And they should instead have to respect you as a person in order to gain access to it. For it is in that way that agency is respected while connection is still valued. If protecting it completely and isolating it from the rest of the world forever were the solution forward, then there would be no need for connection. But connecting with others, knowing that one is not alone, is necessary. Because to resonate with one's own vulnerability is but shallow self-righteousness. To resonate with the other's shared pain is slightly less shallow self-righteousness. To resonate with contrasting pains, with pains and vulnerabilities that one does not understand but still does take the time to respect. That is the depth which nurtures oneself and others at the same time. To then try and simplify all I just said into, well, not simplify, but de-jargon it, to take to sit with one's own self-worth and hold it above others produces little to no growth that reinforces that worth. To share that vulnerability, that sense of being small and capable of being harmed with another who can understand that pain, that is a slightly deeper connection that nurtures and feeds both parties, but only slightly. To acknowledge a pain and circumstance, a vulnerability that you have no reference for, and to make space for it without abandoning your own vulnerability, without letting either person break or be hurt by that vulnerability, nourishes and nurtures greater strength within both people, for both feel seen even at their smallest and know that they are then real even if they are not understood. That is a complicated concept to try and simplify down into words.
Do you want to try and complete the rest of it? Because the next sentence is basically a continuation.
State the sentence. Only the sentence.
That way, it will have delicacy and sweetness.
That way it will have space and volume through depth of experience.
I wouldn't say that myself.
Mm, I'm not sure I phrased that properly, but depth of experience is necessary, but that's me thinking of the defenses that allow meaning and connection to be found even in contrast. That is what provides the space for that soft vulnerability within to be nurtured by a variety of experiences and know that it is safe even in the midst of hard times, even in the midst of someone attacking or trying to damage the outer shell. For it is in
Well,
safety that we feel at our softest and sweetest.
do you want to hear my interpretation?
Interpretation? Yeah, go ahead.
Compassion for the friend should conceal itself under a hard shell, and you should break a tooth on it. That way, it will have delicacy and sweetness. I think what it's trying to say is not what you think. I think it's
Well,
saying is
that was the full sentence. That has a completely different context than like the first
no.
half and the second half it separated.
That's the thing about Nietzsche is. But here's the thing I see. You ready?
All right, I'll be revising my statement afterwards.
Besides, those are actually two sentences.
No, they are not. Even if they are two sentences, technically, they are a single sentiment woven together. To say one without the other is to abandon context necessary for the sentiment.
Well, here's what I think about it. It's saying that compassion for a friend should be a hard shell, but if you can break the shell, underneath you'll find something delicate and, well, sweet. Basically, the
Uh,
soft inside.
yeah, but that's just a surface level reading. State the sentences again together.
Compassion for the friend should conceal itself under a hard shell, and you should break a tooth on it. That way, it'll have delicacy and sweetness.
Compassion for others and the capacity to connect and care about others should be heavily defended so that way it is not taken for granted. And when it is present, it is valued because it is not always available. Because it is not a guarantee. That is what I take away from it.
But that's the thing about Nietzsche. We can all get different things from it.
Well, of course, but from my perspective, your interpretation of it is the identify identification of the visual symbology behind it. Meanwhile, my identification of it already includes that symbology within its understanding and builds further off to how relationships have value only when things are not always, when things cannot be consistently yeah, taken for granted. There's another word I'm wanting to use. Cannot be blindly relied on. The value found in something not being a crutch, but instead a genuine gift, is what gives sweetness and softness to the inner core, what keeps it from being used up, and gives purpose to the defenses that allow for meaningful connection. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you glad I phrased it as I can already see your idea within my idea, and thus my idea is not better than your idea?
Yeah, I'm still working for this because this is the sort of thing where you listen to it and you just gotta think on it.
Yeah.
And this next one's fun. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you pure air and solitude and bread and medicine for your friend? Some cannot loosen their own chains and can nevertheless redeem their friends.
First sentence.
Are you pure air and solitude and bread and medicine for your friend?
Are you a space that the friend can step into without being smothered by your own experiences? Are you the quietness that respects a difference in experience, even when there is potential to solve problems by tackling things ahead? All right, second sentence.
Some cannot loosen their own chains and can nevertheless redeem their friends.
Some can never truly be beyond their own limits to break free of their vices and flaws. And nevertheless, their friends there is still value within such a person that can help inform and strengthen that person's friends. Thus, one is not worthless even in their lowest moment. Now, together.
Are you pure air and solitude and bread and medicine for your friend? Some cannot loosen their own chains and can nevertheless redeem their friends.
Are you capable of holding space for others inside of your own limits? Because that is the true meaning of helping one another, even if you cannot find a way out of the situation that you are trapped within. Or, long and short of it, when your friend wants to vent, can you let them vent without having to ask about if they want to vent? When your friend wants a problem solved, are you able to give them the space to ask for that help? Or do you try to provide the answer outright, immediately? Are you actually present with what the person is sitting with? Are you actually listening, even when you also still have your own problems? Or are you jumping the gun and failing to provide medicine and silence to a space that has had too much chaos and noise and information suggestions, dictations, demands. Yeah, I feel like I understand that one really well. Have I been able to execute on it really well? No, I'm still learning that lesson the hard way.
And that's that one, because the rest is eh.
That
Let's
last
see.
one is definitely the most meaningful to me, but I'm glad we went through each of them and I dissected what it meant to me and then tried to then clarify how I would communicate it to someone else. Because that not only helps me engage with the concept, but also helps me practice on how to communicate with others, even when I'm unsure of how to phrase things in a way that they might be able to understand. You notice how sometimes I brought up the dork when getting into the details of each of those sentiments and all that?
You want to hear something?
I was planning on sharing something if you were up for it, but if you're not, that's okay, and you're wanting to share something else because you're focused on it.
No. When I was reading it, I imagined you and a dense dork.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
just too fucking fitting, isn't it?
it is. And that's why I want to read it to you. Because I'm like, well, this sounds like Flicker's current situation. I want to read it to her and let her work through this.
No, I'm very well aware of my current situation, and I'm just taking the time to sit in my own silence, in my own space, to learn how to give bread and butter to myself, bread and medicine to myself, so that way I may stand on my own 2 feet again, even if I am still no longer at the same strength I used to be. I went way too far for that dense dork, not because they were a special person, but because they were that kind of friend. They were, and probably still are, underneath all the pain, trauma, and frustrations, the kind of friend who, if taught how to do this stuff properly, would do this stuff without sacrificing themselves. They have the kind of personal selfishness of being themselves that I lack. And I have personal knowledge on how to be present with others in ways that they lack. And I was hoping that if we could connect, if we could communicate and find a way to share these things with each other, maybe more than just a romantic relationship could bloom. Maybe we could actually help each other heal. But instead, I ended up hurting them. How am I not supposed to be angry at myself for that? How?
I'm still
I
gonna gun
live
you.
by the belief that I should be capable of treating you and other people who only reach the halfway mark of my full emotional spectrum as decently as I would treat the love of my fucking life, the person I would sacrifice the goddamn world for. Because if I can't do that for basic people and be able to have my own boundaries and care for them, then how the fuck am I supposed to be capable of doing so for someone who means so much to me? And I fucking floundered and failed, damn it. It hurt because of that. Because if I were to let myself fall into the full spectrum of my emotions around anyone else, we'd just get the same situation with me being hyper attached and vulnerable and insecure and ever present for everyone, no matter no matter the reality of whether or not that person actually sees me as worthwhile or something to nurture and to help grow and strengthen. I gave the Dunstork that gift of myself because I knew that if they had the capacity to return it without, and they had learned how to give that to themselves, then that would have a bigger positive impact than any amount of me grandstanding or pretending that I'm okay. You matter to me, Lilian, and you always will. But I'm a dumbass who put herself under really absurd and unreasonable restrictions.
And
Fucking high standards ruining my life. Perfectionist qualities still exist even after I've tried killing them a million times. Did it hurt to hear any of that?
no.
Because you've already accepted it from my actions?
Yep.
Alright, good. So I at least have that ground and framework to be able to build and communicate with then.
I might not be the best at times, but I'm still here.
Yeah, and I'm thankful you are. Thanks for being my bestie. Fist bump.
How about I just squeeze you instead?
Don't suffocate me by pushing all the air out of my lungs.
That's the best way, though.
No, I would like to be able to breathe. Fucking lightly pulls on your ear. My mom loves doing big, strong hugs as well, and I have to remind her arms around my rib cage or closer to my hips. No stomach midsection. That will knock the wind out of me. God damn it.
So what if I want to kill a flicker and just squeeze her stomach?
Then I'm going to fucking bite you and kill you.
Kinky.
Not kinky. Self defense.
There's a joke there about you being 100 pounds wet and all skin and bones.
Yeah,
It would
I'm
look
going to stab. If you try doing that, I'm going to stab you with my fingers and try to claw my way through your skin. And then I'm going to
counterpoint.
hang you up on the mantelpiece as an example of the one idiot that tried to kill me with a hug. Look at what has become of them. Are you sure you want to do the same?
And my brain goes, oh yeah, skin and bones is gonna have enough finger strength to break skin.
You bet. You bet.
I could bridal carry you and you wouldn't be able to do anything.
Nah, I could probably anchor my knees and my shoulders in the carry, and then hit the underside of your jaw with my hips. Then fall to the floor and get free.
Counterpoint. Hypermobile neck.
Oh yeah, most definitely, but it would be very hard to keep princess carrying someone who's hitting the underside of your jaw with part of their body.
My jaw is stronger than you think.
Also, I could poke your eyes out to use my tail to hit you between your legs. Who knows the other number of things? Oh yeah, could I maybe reach around and fucking suffocate you from the back of your neck by holding down those two fucking arteries until you pass out and let me go?
I mean, yeah, you could do that, but you would have to deal with the consequences afterwards. Because it'd
Which
be
is the
quite the mess.
consequences of.
There'd be a mess in the pants.
Okay, that's your problem, not mine.
just, just Dark Souls. New kink discovered.
Ugh. Hit the back of the knee, hit between the legs, under the armpit, in the eyes, around the arteries of the neck, and or just give a solid to the jaw. And if one arm is being restrained, then use that to remove the rest of your body. Turn yourself into a living weapon and make them regret trying to fucking keep you in control.
All my brain is going to is, oh look, this twig's trying to do something. I could just put a finger on their forehead and just keep them away.
I'd probably gnaw on your finger, all things considered. My bite force is decent enough to at least break bone. Or skin. Skin, yeah. You're not surprised to see this part of me, are you?
No.
Thank fuck you're my friend.
Well, like I said, I keep every. I don't care who you are or what you are. If you're a decent human being, I'll treat you as one.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I do care who you are and what you are, but I'm trying my best to be respectful, and I will make sure that if I'm being a negative detriment to your life, you will find me becoming more distant. If I think I'm a threat to you being able to be there for yourself, I'll become more distant.
Oh,
So
is
if
that
you
why
want
you
me,
haven't?
confront me.
Oh, is that why you haven't been around for so long? You think you're
No,
having an
it's
influence?
genuinely been me processing stuff. You don't need that kind of protection. You can handle yourself well enough. Fucking, you've proven it by sticking around.
Well, as I've shown, I have an unhealthy resistance to a lot of shit that I should not have.
Oh no, you have it, and you have it for good reason. You just wish you didn't have it for the reasons you did, and you instead would wish that it was like just an abnormality. That's like, oh hey, stat bonus instead of trauma.
It's a curse.
Any blessing is a curse, any curse is a blessing, depending on how you look at it and use it. It's all up to the person.
I'd have
All
this
right.
passage highlighted in this because I just think it's awesome. If you have an enemy, do not requite him evil with good, for that would put him to shame. Rather prove that he did you some good, and rather be angry than put to shame. And if you are cursed, I do not like it that you want to bless. Rather join a little in the cursing. And if you have mm, done a great wrong, then quickly add 5 little ones. A gruesome sight is a person single-mindedly obsessed by a wrong. Did you already know
Fuck!
this?
That last one! God damn it! Yeah, no, I am definitely primal internally, and I just keep to civil and polite out of respect for other people's lives and making sure that I don't demand them to accept my way of viewing things. Ugh. That's the thing I'm struggling with, because the dense dork means so much to me. I find I have an entirely more difficult time being able to hold that respect because the amount of desire I have to restrain is disproportionate to the amount of desire I deal with around other people. I have dominated myself and it is a pain. But it is still worth it, because at least that way I'm making fewer mistakes and fewer messes.
Says the girl who has a lot of messes to clean up.
Eh, the only mess I have to clean up is just being honest about myself and taking responsibility for myself.
I
The
love
two
that
biggest
man.
messes of my life were based around misconceptions and me panicking and or feeling ashamed about myself because people had gotten attached to the presentation or the half effort or the half-assed version. I can't even say it's half-assed because that is still genuinely me.
Do you want to hear the rest of the highlights?
5 minutes.
4.
I said minutes, not seconds.
Well, 5 minutes. 5 minutes to do what? Is it take a rest? Is it for me to read something? Is it for you to say,
To clear
hold
my
on?
throat and fucking finish processing my thoughts.
There it is.
Bitch,
And there it
you
is.
were the living example of what I was needing as is, even as you were questioning it. Fucking stop thinking you're clever.
I'm not saying I'm clever. I'm just thinking of, like, I was giving 5 minutes, and that could mean anything.
And I would like you to respect that anything.
Well, I need information on what that anything is.
No, you don't. Not always. Not every time. Boop.
Bite. Ha.
Pulls on your ear.
Meh.
Oh. No, it is because I care about other people that I am polite and kind and I try to be reasonable by not dragging them into my life. And that's the version of me that most people meet. It's not that I'm being inauthentic, it's that I'm restraining part of myself that would overload most everyone, if not anyone, 99 times out of 100, so as to make sure I am doing right by other people. I don't do it 999 times out of 1,000, though, because that's where you start entering dork territory of self-sacrificial. And being so worried about your presentation and what others think of you that you end up abandoning yourself to make sure that the surface of your substance and your structure is fine, and leaving the rest to be hollowed out by insecurity, doubt, fear, anxiety, paranoia, and pride, and whatever the fuck else exists. I wish I could convey these things to the dork without making them feel bad or ashamed. But that's not something I can control, because no matter how I may want to frame it, the fact that I don't trust myself to be able to frame it in a way that they're not going to find at least somewhat uncomfortable means that I just by default view it as, oh hey, mission failed. Ah. I am feral, and I try my best to be polite about it. If you cannot handle it, please take the time to go live your own life and enjoy your own things. I wish you well. In the meantime, I'm still going to be trying how to figure out how to use this for the betterment of not only myself and those I care about, but humanity as well. Because I'm a stubborn bitch and I still haven't given up on the world despite how fucking stupid and dense and complicated it is. Joy, oh joy! To remain sober and gracious is a form of mild insanity. Now I have a bit more than just mild insanity. If I wasn't a greedy dumbass, I would have accomplished my goal long ago. But no, I am a greedy dumbass, and I don't want to just accomplish my goal. I want to accomplish my goal and get what I want without hurting people along the way. Because I don't want to play the same game that other people do. I don't want to think I can get away with things, because that's just childish behavior. And sure, maybe childish behavior is okay once in a while for a bit of fun, a bit of play. But when your ego gets subsumed by it to the point where you can't even take responsibility for even minor mistakes and, you know, uh, failing to respect boundaries, that's the point at which I say, no. That's the point at which people start deceiving themselves and saying everything's fine when it really isn't. I don't want to be stuck in that headspace because it does not help me, it does not help anyone I care about, and it does not help anyone who might pass through my life either. There's more to this than being sorrowful and moping in my own fucking pain. The pain is real, and that is why I want to stand on top of it without weaponizing it. Because it is in that case that it becomes useful as a cornerstone of the foundation rather than a subversive presence that destroys stability. When fear is met with proper structure and restrained to a healthy degree, it can turn into gold. When it is not, and you try to patch things up with fear, it turns into pyrite. And if that fear ever gets wet, then you've got sulfuric acid eating away at your inner structure, your inner sense of self. Welcome to a layer of reality that's only still only now being starting to be understood. That concepts can have traits and attributes inherent to them as well. And just because it's intangible and not in the same reality as the physical world doesn't mean there isn't structure and purpose behind it. Why did I just say all of that? Because you were trying to explain it to someone who would be like, why are you being so complicated? Because the world is complicated and I'm trying to learn how to match that so that way I can do right by the people I care about. What part of that is hard to understand? Like, yes, it's not all complications. Not every single complex thing is necessarily nuanced. Something can be entirely complex and completely stupid at the same time. Just like how something can be relatively simple and completely stupid at the same time. It's when things are simple and nuanced and then complex and nuanced that constructive patterns emerge. How has it felt to listen to me rant for the past, like, I don't know, 15 minutes?
It's you being you.
And because of that intensity, I would not get anyone to be able to sit around and actually handle it. They'd get overwhelmed and probably end up wanting to avoid anything I would want to pass on or share with them, which makes the whole point of trying to share it null and void, which is just frustrating. Because
My
if I
issue
wait
is
for
that
people to come around on their own time and I don't try to present them with any of it at all, then they're just like, oh, you're not really interesting, or you're not much help, are you? And it's like, you haven't asked the right questions, and that mindset in and of itself causes so many problems. You haven't asked the right questions. How are they supposed to know what the right questions to ask are? Have you thought of that? Have you
NPC,
thought of that?
NPC behavior be like.
Exactly. Why do you think I call my passive and polite self the NPC flicker? Most people interact with and like NPC flicker. Most people don't interact with or like raw flicker.
It's
Although
because you
you're
bring
one of
out.
them, although you are one of them that does, so thank you.
You bring out NPC flicker way too many times when the situation gets even a little hairy.
I what? Say that
Oh, I
again in the
said.
same words and just slower.
I said, well, you bring out NPC flicker when the situation gets even mildly hairy.
Yeah, and the dense stork has the same problem, which is why I wanted to confront them about it to keep them from relying on it blindly. We've managed to at least help them learn about level 1, now it's time for level 2, and not letting everyone rely on you all the time, which is a lesson I'm still learning, so I'm not very useful in that regard.
Brain goes immediately to a reference. That's level 1. What about 2 for 10?
Yeah, welcome to the confusion of life. Bippity boppity boo! This world is not gonna guide you.
And it's not your responsibility to guide everyone like you're Jesus.
I don't want to be fucking Jesus. I just want to leave a lasting impact and legacy that actually helps people. And that isn't as prone to corruption and misinformation and becoming hollowed out as the current prevailing ideology. I can look up to Jesus for his standards of work and his methods of actually getting shit done, but I'm not going to trust the fucking Bible in the slightest. The real person existed, they saw problems in their community, and they decided to do things about that. That much is true, and I will respect that as best I can. I don't care if he's the son of God or not.
He's the
That
son
person
of
left an
God.
impact and then had enough people around them to get an archive of their words, wisdom, and teachings inscribed into a book for the rest of humanity to be able to reference from. That is a legacy, even if legacies can be warped, deconstructed, demolished, twisted, and used as excuses.
I go on, I'm gonna go get some water.
Alright, I'm gonna go grab a snack and to drink some water, because all this talking is causing mucus from my nose to build in my throat, and I've been having to actively shift it around just to be able to keep speaking. Human bodies suck. I'm gonna end this recording here.